Welcome to the Integration Station. I'm Ashley Michaud, your coach. It's all happening. Hello and welcome, you beautiful souls, to another episode at the Integration Station. I've got my friend Dev here. He is the mushroom doula, and I'm really excited to introduce you to him and introduce him to the rest of the community here, because there is lots of insights and good vibes and positivity coming from this man, and I'm really excited about this. So without further ado, Dev, if you want to share, your own little intro, your story, what brought you here.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it. We crossed paths, I want to say about a year ago,
Yeah.
and to be here is an honor. So I appreciate you. I'm Dev. Um, I am the mushroom doula, and I am extremely passionate of helping people find their purpose and their way and do inner work, shadow work, and just to get the divine guidance that people are truly looking for outside with the sacred mushroom. And I've through as a kid, I didn't know I had certain gifts. So now, as I did my own healing, I was able to see, connect the dots, and to be like, yo, this is actually the path for me. I grew up in Richmond, California, next to Oakland, San Francisco. Um, and yeah, like it's a beautiful thing to be here on here with you, and anything that I can do to share and possibly touch some people or help some people, it feels in alignment with my purpose. So it's
Yeah, thank you. I'm first of all curious, if you're willing to share with us what started this journey. How did you get inspired to work with mushrooms, to start a business around mushrooms?
Yeah, like I'm still working on the business thing, but so for me, I was a merchant seaman for 5.5 years, and I was living a life. I mean, it was just everything a man could ever want: good money, no kids, no wife. I mean, I'm all in the Philippines, Thailand. It's just the world. I just felt like the world was in my palm. I felt like I gained the world, but I was losing my soul. So after all having all of that fun, I realized I was missing something. I didn't feel connected anymore. So I started doing some research, and then I got into plant medicine. And then I came across the sacred mushroom. And, once I indulged what it showed me and what I felt, and it was instantaneously a calling that I didn't know that I was a part of. And then once I seen, people from my community and how we looked at it, how we were conditioned to just kind of demonize it and not understand the real history. And, people where I'm from, they feel like it's a hippie thing, it's a white thing, it's just that, all the just the programming. And it really sparked me to want to be an advocate, to like, no, this is for everybody. You should do some research. Have you seen those Egyptian have you seen the drawings on the walls? Those are actually mushrooms. And you know where your ancestors, do you know that these were sacred indigenous practices that were stripped away from us, and now we look at it as if it's a bad thing. So ever since then, I started to continually heal on my path, so that way I can be in position to help people heal. And it's been a beautiful journey. I assist everyone, but it's something special to get someone who has been taught to just really, I've heard the craziest things. You're gonna never come back. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. And to be dealing with those oppositions, and to get people to just consider it, and then later get a phone call like, I'm ready to do the healing. It is so rewarding. It is so necessary, because we all know there's a lot going on in the world, and it's the yin and the yang, and it's all one consciousness. But we need to do the inner work, so that way we can work as a collective. It's like a team. They say you are you're your weakest link. So if we have people, quote unquote, that are weakest link, that are not doing the work, that are constantly pointing the finger, that are constantly being the victim, that are constantly not finding solutions, this is the way, especially when we apply it in a sacred way, not just at a party. If you like to have fun and you're an expert in it, this is not for you. But if you're new to this and you're looking to get some downloads, if you're looking to have that breakthrough, you must administer it in a safe space so that way you can get what you need. And not only that, after that, now you have to integrate it,
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm here for. I am so honored to be in position to help people find their way with this sacred mushroom.
Absolutely. And you make a good point. There's been so much history around this. It went from being a religion, across all nations. It still grows wild in all nations, which is why it's illegal to harvest it, but you can grow it all you want. You can even ship spores because it's such a natural occurring thing. And yet somehow it got demonized, and we became very disconnected from this natural world. And we see it with our food supply. We see it in so many ways too, like with tech, instead of nature, like a beautiful scenery like you, so it's nice to recenter and find that connection again. I love that you're using the words like the sacred mushroom. I'm curious, did you read the book Sacred Mushroom and the Cross? Is that what brought you there, or how did you come to that understanding?
I didn't necessarily read that book, but if from my research, I imagine that it is connected to Gnosticism, and Gnosticism talks about the mushroom and Christ consciousness, and there's so many. I didn't read that book, but I've read different books and I've gotten things here and there. But for me, out of all the research, Terence McKenna, Baba Kalindi Iyi, and there's other people. And in my personal experiences too, so when I've had these experiences, it was just so sacred. How you show up is going to determine your experience. So if you show up with it being sacred, if you show up with it being a teacher, a healer, if you show up with this attitude, gratitude is attitude, then you will get much more out of it than just and I'm not knocking it. It's good to have fun. Sometimes you just want to do mushrooms and see colors and just have good vibes and some good music. But for those who are really seeking to do the work, it's important to look at it as a sacred thing. And then, words are so powerful. It's energy. So, for a woman, you could be like, oh, look at that woman. You could be like, look at that goddess. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, wow, wait a minute. Hey, now this goddess deserves a little bit more respect, just like the mushrooms is. So words and how we introduce things. And I look, and I feel like I'm in a position to really influence people. So it's very important how I word things and how I say things, so that way when they get it from me, if they carry it on, they can pass it on, versus just being like, shrooms or this and that. Like, it deserves its proper title, sacred. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I am definitely a big advocate for, not only set and setting, but that intention part. Words are these magical spells. They guide us. Napoleon Hill, he made a really good point that to manifest anything, we have to cultivate faith, because faith leads to belief. And once we believe it, we can achieve it, right? But what's the only thing that can cultivate faith? And that's our words. That's our auto-suggestion. That's our affirmations to ourselves. And and words can be really powerful. They can be poetry, and we've kind of degraded our language in so many ways, our capability to even communicate with each other. It went from poetry. We look at some other languages like Sanskrit. It's all sacred words of empowerment. And then we got the English language today. And I was like, bruh, bae.
Look, I've had my moments when I was just doing research, and then I would have to look a word up, and I'd be like, it has so many different meanings to this word. For example, I was looking up a word, and like anxiety. There's so many ways of anxiety. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about insecurities, there's like a lot of different ways of being insecure. So it really helps to be thorough. And that's the thing about the English language. There's nothing we can do about it. But when we understand that it has so many different meanings, we really have to dissect it and get the most out of it so people can fully relate to it. In the English language, I I when you get lemons, you make lemonade. But however, I'm working on this being able to just explain it to a 5-year-old thing. And so I went from trying to find all these fancy words to just breaking it down and making it simple, just so it can resonate. Take it, and then you can use whatever you want. And here's the funny thing: at the end of the day, you're using words and we're using language, but the biggest thing is energy. You cannot say nothing and get your point across very well. And I've been learning. I was at a point where before I started working with this plant medicine, I used to just do so much talking, just over talking, but I wasn't feeling it. I was just trying to sound like I knew what I was talking about. But when I started speaking from the heart, I realized I didn't have to say a lot. I wanted people to feel what I was saying, which makes a huge difference. And then you're not pouring out your energy, because everything you do and everything you say, that's energy you're putting out there. So we have to be very mindful of the words we say, how we say it, the intentions of what we say, and actually who we're saying it to, because not everybody's ready to receive. So when there's universal laws when it comes to this act. So I had to piggyback on that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and thank you for adding. Uh, do you find like that communication with the mushrooms is its own type of language too? Do you think all psychedelics have the same one, or do you think it's different? What's your experience so far?
Well, when we look at history, when you look at like mushrooms were before trees, where do mushrooms come from, right? Where did the spores come from? I'm not going to speak on all psychedelics because I don't diss any psychedelic. They all have their benefits. I just resonate so much with the mushroom. I've done LSD. Ayahuasca. She's a grandmother spirit, so she may hit you a little different from the mushroom. I know people that would rather do ayahuasca than LSD than mushrooms. So it really varies. And being that I'm just a drop in the ocean when it comes to all of this, I try to be very mindful of what I think I know. Even if I'm confident, I still need to be mindful of how I word things. So it's different for everyone. Even when I'm holding space for people, they tell me their experiences that I've never experienced, but I support them because it's your experience. Do I know what you're talking about in totality? Probably not. But I want you to know you're not crazy, and if it's for you, it's for you. If that's what you get. Some people do psychedelics, and then they get in touch with they hear languages that they've never heard before. They get these light languages. They tap into their intuitive gifts. It helps you with so many things. So I'm here to help people find whatever language, because before you do participate in the mushroom, a lot of this stuff can just sound like, are you crazy? Like, what in the hell? But when you get it, you're like, oh, I can see how that's possible, because I've had experiences with people that I didn't necessarily want to share because I wasn't comfortable, because I hadn't fully integrated the experience. So with all that being said, what they do, they unlock pieces of us, because we all come here with gifts, right? Depending on what you're into, if you're into past lives, whatever. But when we're really waking up and removing the veil and remembering who we are and why we're here, and then we get pieces. I'm learning that the soul retrieval is just grabbing pieces of the soul that may be here and there, and then these languages, and being present and being in reverence of it, so that we can receive whatever language what it means to us. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And reverence, that's a beautiful word. My mentor, Dr. Dan Engel, he has an Aya roadmap, and for each direction, there's a different R word, and you've already spoke on two of them, and I know you've never even done his training, so I think it's just beautiful that you're already tapping into a lot of these same teachings. It really is part of this collective experience, and yeah, we got to pay reverence. It's very humbling medicine, and And they all do
I've
call
heard.
us individually. I remember doing MDMA one time and I'm like, whoa, I'm like clairvoyant. I can see auras. I was like, it was like this whole other dimension. And with mushrooms, definitely my medicine, I feel that it's more grounding and helps me just understand nature better. I love my time in the garden. That's where I was right before coming in here, like almost to the
Mhm.
dot. I'm like racing in. I gotta go. I gotta go. But I understand it better, and I love this symbiosis that comes from it, the fractal effect of what's in our garden, in our soils, in our gut is representation of what's going on inside of us and becoming us. It's this fractal effect. As above, so
Exactly.
below, as inside is outside.
Without, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, when I first kind of started my awakening, it's like you go through a door, and you go through this door, and there's all these paths, it's all these ways. People doing all these, they got all these different modalities, all these religious and spiritual ways. And I feel like I was just dibbling and dabbling in everything, just to come to the conclusion that they're all pretty much one and the same. They just put their own twist to it. You go to China, you go to India, they have different names that they used to describe some of the same things in Africa in indigenous culture. And how when they talk about how it's all related, like it is, and it taught me to really find something that resonates with me and stick to it and really ground myself in it. So, um, I've had to do some trial and error. I had to really test things out, and see and realize and bump my head and talk about being humbled. I've been humbled too. Like I've had beautiful experiences. I've had humbling experiences, letting me know, like, yo, you're not doing what you need to do. This, that, and the third. You might be sounding good to everyone else, but we, the ancestors, are watching you, and we expect great from you. Okay, so
Yeah.
because we have to keep telling you this, we might have to discipline you a little bit. This might hurt a little bit, not physically, but mentally, emotionally. My pride, my ego. I've had a few ego deaths, so yeah, it, and that's what I try to emphasize for people. Like I strongly feel that until you truly like heal and truly deep dive, it will let you know, it will confirm like if you're on the right path or not. And I try to prepare people, like be prepared to be open and receive, because you might find out that you are very successful in one area, but you're not called to do that. You might be called to do something else. So you really want to be open, and that's when the work really begins. That's when it starts, once you have your experience, your breakthrough.
Do you have any tips around setting intention and just preparing in general?
Yeah, as we all know, the setting is very popular. Dosage. I ask people, do you want to open a window? Do you want to open a door? Do you want to tear down a wall? And and the responses I get, let me think about that. So you want to be mindful of very honest with yourself with the type of experience you want to have. First of all, do not take other people's experiences to heart, because their experiences are different. Like the sacred medicine is going to bring out what's in you. You can't hide from it. You can't run from it. It's going to shine a light on your shadow. It's going to shine a light on all the suppressed stuff. So don't let somebody's horrific experience be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to go through that. And what that does is it programs people, and now they're afraid of their experience because of what someone else has done. Don't know you are, because a lot of people are really good people at heart, and they've done so many things, they've done so many amazing things, but they don't give themselves enough credit. So when you go in, you feel this galactic hug. It'll be probably the best experience. But of course, that is when you administer it right. You can do it by yourself if you feel you need someone, but you want to make sure. I advise people to detox and fast. Fasting doesn't mean you don't eat. It just means don't eat sweets. Don't If you can stay away from meats for a little while, you can stay away from the juices and just intentionally eat healthier, so that way your body is not digesting by the time you get to your experience. You can be clean. The cleaner you show up, the better your experience. Food is information. If you put all this junk in you, this junk could, we still can have a good experience, but we're not aiming for good. We're aiming for phenomenal, fantastic, right? Profound. That's what we want. So, and also, you know, don't be around people who are going to trigger you. You know, if you need a sitter, if you need someone to sit for you, be someone who's really open, who's unconditional, who's going to understand you, let you express yourself the way you need to express yourself. Because you may want to yell, you may want to cry, but if you're self-conscious about that, it can really, it can be more of a struggle. Because what I've learned is once the medicine kicks in, what needs to come out is going to be there. It's going to be right in your eyesight, and you can either run to it, you can let it happen, or you can run from it. And if you're running from it, it's not going to do anything but chase you the entire time, and that's how people have quote-unquote bad trips. But you need to be in a safe space. But if you're somewhere like, you know, with all these people and all this music, and then your mother passing away hits you, you know, you may not feel comfortable to express yourself. So you want to be in a position where you can completely let go. This is nothing you want to control. You know, I want to be able to control, this is not cannabis, this is not the same, this is not alcohol. You want to be able to be free and let it do what it needs to do. And also, you can write down what you wish to release. You know, write down what you wish to release. You can do a burn-in ritual. It's very popular in many different ways. You know, you can wait on a full moon. You can wait on a new moon. Moons, phases, and planets in alignment plays a huge part. Even when you're not on the mushrooms. So could you imagine you're going to be that much more sensitive? You can make it intentional, make it special. Get you some sage, get you some Palo Santo, make it your own. You know, I give people the fundamentals so you can make it whatever it needs to be. I encourage people to do it on an empty stomach. You know, if people, you know, there's this thing called lemon tech. Lemon tech is good because it actually helps break down the psilocybin a little bit more. So that way, because what happens is, you know, the mushrooms are really hard to digest. So if your body's not in a position, some people get nauseous more than others. But, you know, you got to be careful of eating it with pizza, eating it with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like, all this stuff is trying to fight, and that causes a lot of nausea. So teas are good with ginger. Lemon tech is good. It helps to break it down and ease the nausea. And I would also just be very mindful of who you get it from, you know, because you're dealing with energy. So, you know, if somebody just comes out of the blue and is like, hey, man, you know, you want some mushrooms, and you're not feeling their energy, it just doesn't feel right, then just be very mindful, because energy, it's mushrooms are intelligent, you know, they pick up on so much. So yeah, just for that would be my advice for people. And just the reverence, just accept it with the reverence. How you show up is how you show up is gonna dictate your experience.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, you make some good points there, like all around the board. But when it comes to recipes, we are hearing like more and more of this lemon tech. One thing I personally love doing, and I've written articles on this, is blue honey. You brought up ancient Egypt before, and they actually found that honey lasts for like 30 million years or something crazy like that. And it's still really high in antioxidants. It helps build up your immunity. It helps with allergies, with so many things. And I'm a very spiritual person, so I also love the symbology about bees, like all the knowledge that we're going to be getting from the bees when you tap into like nutrigenomics. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's the actual science of that plant life can talk to our cells and our DNA. And, you know, that's why eating whole foods from the rainbow is so important, because it helps us, you know, tap into some primitive information instead of like this new age processed food that's turning on diabetes and all this other stuff. So I love the idea of just mixing it with the information from the bees who've been around for so long, and it's a natural preservative, and it does help with the digestion. You don't want to do that on the big doses. The lemon tech will probably be more helpful, but for the little micro doses, it's perfect. And you guys can get all that. That's over on Sociadelic. Our friends over there have that article. And then, and I had another question here for you. If you have any advice for anybody if they do have a bad trip.
Remember, it's not going to last forever. Okay? And if you're having a bad trip, address it. Ask questions. What does this mean? What is it? Don't run from it. Just step into it, because that's where the lesson is. Sometimes what seems to be in the way becomes the way. So don't fight it. Don't run from it. Just let it be. It's not going to last forever. You're not going to die. You can think you're going to die, but you're not going to die, okay? As long as you're in a safe space, as long as you don't do anything crazy like run out into the street or jump on the freeway or, be in a safe space, and just take it. Because everything that happens to you is yours. You know what I'm saying? You're just really running from yourself. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know that was in there. I thought I dealt with that. No, you didn't. Now you did. And now it's time to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, just face it. No matter how dark, no matter what, even whatever it is, address it. It can't hurt you. It can only make you think that it can hurt you. But if you address it, then it will answer you. It will assist you, and it's not going to last forever. You're not going to. I've done high doses and be like, "This is it." I don't think I'm ever coming back, but I came back. So I'm here to tell you, if I came back, you're going to come back to make the most out of it, because you're doing the work. That's why you go in with the intentions of doing the work, so that way this is work to do. So that, because if you do it and you handle it, then you don't have to ever worry about it again, because you've dealt with it. And if it comes up again, you'll be like, oh, I got this. It's just a test. So face it head on. It's yours. Face it. If you want to go to the next level, don't run from it. Face it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. I love the idea of, run towards those fears, because they are the way. I've always thought of them as this kind of compass towards that which we really want. But, so often we're hiding behind the tree from the fear. It's like, no, just go out in the open and then they'll get out of the way. You see that when you're walking down the forest, what are you going to hide from the raccoon or anything behind a tree? No, they climb trees. But if you go out in the path, they're not going to stand in front of you. They're going to scatter. And that's the same thing that happens when we do face our fears. And it's nice to face it in our mind, in an experience, from my personal experience, rather than facing it in the outer world, because all of that happens in the psychedelic experience. It's facing us for that real world. And then we can stand up to even bigger things with more confidence. And it just helps us get further ahead to where we really want to be,
That's right. And that's what it's all about. It's about mastering you. It's the work from the inside out. Do the work. The stuff that you don't tell people, the stuff that you think about, the stuff that comes to your mind, like all these things are a part of you. And even without the sacred mushroom, depending on who you are and where you are and what you want out of life. If you're like a deep diver and you're truly seeking to find your path, seeking higher consciousness, seeking to ascend, this is where it is. There's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. You have to face your stuff. And the sooner you face it, the sooner you can put it in check. It's not like you're not necessarily facing it to eradicate it or get rid of it. You're facing it to let it know I'm not afraid, I'm dealing with it. And at the end of the day, it's us. That's how we learn to love all of us. We learn the good things, we learn to love the things that may not be so good, but it's part of us. And it's here to help us. It's here to help us grow and become the best us that we can be,
Thank you. I've got 2 questions. This first one is a little fun, and that is I'm inspired by your background right now. So if I handed you a dandelion right now and I said make a wish, what would you change in the world?
Hmm. What would I change? That's a very interesting question because, as I am on my journey, I'm understanding that everything is perfect the way it is, you know? So if if things were different, I probably wouldn't be here. If things wasn't the way it is, it's the yin and the yang, it's the duality, it's the light, it's the dark, it's the above and it's the below, it's the within, it's the without. So I don't think I would change anything because everything is what made me who I am. And it being the way it is why I descended down here to come here and help out and give a hand. This is a training. This is a freaking training program. This is like boot camp for souls. So I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change anything.
Oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. Thank you for your honest answer. And lastly, Dev, can you just let everyone know how it is that they can contact you, stay in touch, learn more about who you are and what you're doing?
Yes. I know a lot of people are like, social media, social media. But I've developed quite a bit of relationships and reached a lot of people through social media, Facebook. So Facebook, Devionnce Griffin, Devionnce, Griffin, Griffin. I got some psychedelic clothes on. I'm playing a djembe. I have a group. My group is holding space, peel, heal, reveal. Awesome group of people. We're here to assist each other wholeheartedly, unconditionally, without judgments, wherever you are. I don't care if you're microdosing or doing 15 grams. We respect you and we support you because it's work. I've had experiences off of microdoses where I had to literally cancel all my plans,
Yeah.
because I had
Oh,
to
I'm
do
there.
some work.
Yeah.
So, so I don't. Hey, I respect everybody. And on IG, Peel Heal Reveal, you can find me on IG. And my email is deviance.griffin@gmail.com. And yeah, I love reaching and building with people that are on this frequency, and I love for people to just feel comfortable. I want to feel approachable. I don't feel like I'm above you or below you. I'm right beside you. I'm here to help you. Like I have a divine mission to be here for those who are ready to do the work. And if you're ready to do the work, let's do the work together. And if I can be of any of assistance, I'm looking for confirmation for my ancestors and my spirit guides to give me a thumbs up. And that's what I need. Keep going. Like, all right, because they told me some things along my journey, and I'll share this with you. One of my big dosages when I realized I was part of something big is one thing they said. They're like, we're waiting on you. This was like a couple years ago. They're like, we're waiting on you, and I didn't know what it meant at the time, but it's beautiful when you can feel closer to that voice that was in your head during your high dose of mushrooms.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. That was a beautiful time. Your bird just flew by you too. Oh my gosh.
All right,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
love it. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We'll
Thank you
talk
for
again
having me.
soon, and I'm gonna link all your information in the description below too, so that it's clickable for anybody out there that's ready to dive into a group like what you're offering here. So thank you so much again. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Much love.
Much
Peace.
love.